Okay, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're reading this, watching this rather. Trying out a new mic, so I hope this sounds good. Let's see if you can hear me sipping. Yeah, so this is a request. Someone made a request. I should have made this a long time ago, to be fair, but somebody requested it recently, so I thought, okay, cool, I'll just go ahead and talk about it. And I'm just talking about kind of what being self-employed is actually like. Obviously, everyone talks about self-employed. Well, when I was younger, I used to talk about self-employment from the kind of mindset of being someone who's not employed. So, like in school, I'd be like, I'm never gonna work for somebody. And everyone, and like all my friends would be like, oh yeah, we never want to work for people. We want to work for ourselves. We want to do our own thing. We want to be our own bosses, that kind of stuff. And we were so kind of like, yeah, work for yourself. Come on, whatever. I know we weren't American, but yeah. But then, but working for yourself is a lot. Is a lot. And it wasn't until actually working for myself, go figure, that I've come to realize that a lot of the stuff I used to think, yeah, some of the stuff, it made sense, but a lot of them are just not true, quite frankly. It's just not true. So for instance, I used to be like, just one quick one, before I talk about kind of the three main things. One quick one was I used to be like, oh, the freedom. It's not that deep. Yeah, it's just not that deep. No, sorry. When I was young, I really valued it because it was like, I can have my freedom, but no, it's just not that deep at all. And it wasn't until you have a lot of it that you realize, it's not that crazy. I am aware though that we kind of do this kind of grass is greener on the other side thing a lot. So as someone who's self-employed or who runs a company, I might look at people who have a full-time job and be like, oh, the dream. And then people who have a full-time job might look at me and be like, oh, the dream. But in this case, it's not, because I still don't want a 9 to 5. Never, ever do I want a 9 to 5. However, I do feel like before people make the leap into kind of self-employment, they ought to be aware of everything, or just aware of more stuff. You can't be aware of everything before they make the leap, and that just basically means you'll just be great informed. So I know a lot of friends literally that are about to quit their job. I have friends that work in JP, Goldman, Barclays, like a lot of the big kind of most of my friends work in finance. And they are all about, and I would have worked in finance as well, by the way, if I didn't, decide not to. But they're about to jump from their full-time role and go into self-employment. And one of the things we're talking about more and more now, me being someone who's been in it for 2 years now, really, is being able to kind of explain to them what to expect, so they're not shocked when they leave their job. Listen. Anyways, that's enough. Let's just get straight into the video. So yeah, just before we get started, it might help out for you to be aware, to a certain degree, about my work history. So I've been working for a long time. I'm one of those guys who got a job early. I've done all kinds of things. When I was 13, I joined the Greenwich Young People's Council, which was like a youth well, I joined my school council first, then I joined Greenwich Young People's Council, which was like a council in the borough of Greenwich, where like they would have like a member from every school be part of that council. I joined that. I became deputy chair of that council, and then I was timekeeper in that council. Anyways, after that, I then became a member of youth parliament. I did that for 2 years, where I was literally just representing young people in Greenwich in parliament, doing kind of campaigns, just all kinds of different things. So that was really cool. That was 2 years of doing that. And then I worked with a cabinet office, the British Youth Council, the British Council, as a cabinet, as a UK young ambassador to the European Union. Those were the fun days. And that just involved traveling across Europe, speaking at conferences, representing people in the UK abroad, overseas, in a process called structured dialogue. I promise you, it is as crap as it sounds. It was really, no, to be fair, it was good, it was fun, but it was just very kind of dense. So I did that for a while. Then I've just worked with lots of little organizations here and there, But none of those jobs were ever 9 to 5. None of those roles were ever 9 to 5. They were always projects and contract based, and I just always kind of danced around 9 to 5 and never did a genuine kind of wake up at 9, get back home. I've just never done that in my life. So I went to university, did a degree in politics, philosophy, and economics. Then I stayed on, did another master's degree in political science, philosophy and politics, democracy and elections. Then I had some grad offers to pick from. I kind of secretly, even though I would always talk badly about finance, I secretly applied for some finance grad roles, and I got 2 of them. I won't say which one they are, doesn't really matter, but I got 2 of them. And so I had like 2 options in it. It was either go down the finance route and kind of do that, or start TCS and work based on TCS, take a ridiculously lower salary, and do TCS. So I decided to do TCS instead. So that's my kind of story. People always say stuff like, okay, maybe you should go into finance for a couple of years, work for a bit, then take your money and start your social enterprise. That's cool, but I know myself. I'm one of those guys that gives everything. Like, I would be wearing, at a certain time, I would be like carrying, Barclays mug with me. I was wearing Barclays. Like, I love what I do, type of thing. So I would get involved in Barclays, like really, really involved. So I wouldn't leave. I know I wouldn't leave. So when they say, oh, I'm gonna do, finance for 5 years, then jump out. No, I'm not. I will stay there. I will be there. 6 p.m., 10 p.m. with the cleaners. I'd be like, you guys all right? Like, I would literally be that guy that stays behind. So for me, I couldn't get involved and come back out. I just decided it wasn't worth going in anyways. So that was my thing. It wasn't worth going in. Let me just come out and just not go in at all. So basically, my whole experience so far has been self-employment. I've dabbled in like 9 to 5, like got a job, did it for a week, then kind of that stuff. But in terms of what I've generally done, they've all been self-employment. So that's my kind of thing, and it's important you get that, just so you understand. Like, I'm not trying to bash people that do that. One thing I've realized now, the older I get, is listen. I appreciate everybody. Well done. Whatever you're on, whatever hustle you're doing, well done, because hustling is tough. Once you finish university and that safety blanket's been removed from you, hustling is tough. It is tough. So whether you're doing a 9 to 5 or you're in a business or whatever you're doing, like, keep going, because you're doing amazingly. But if you are about to switch, or you're thinking, oh, I hate my job, I want something else. I want to get out of my job. I want to kind of aspire and start this business, start that band, whatever it is you want to do. There's a couple of things you need to be aware of. Now, I'm aware there's like 100, and comment below if I miss something out, especially if you're self-employed. If I say something that's not true or something that I missed out, comment below so other people can see it. But the one thing I was going to speak about first and foremost that you have to be prepared for if you want to go into self-employment is uncertainty. That word will plague your life for the first few years at least, because there's a certain certainty that comes with a job. Now, don't get me wrong. We saw 2008, financial crisis, people got laid off. You can lose your job anytime, I get that. But it's not a whim. If you're gonna lose your job, you'll be aware of it. Like, something might happen. It's very rare that you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh my God, my company doesn't exist anymore. that doesn't happen. But when you're self-employed at the start, every single day, like, going to bed is actually like, oh, we didn't crash today. Because it is just that. Especially if you got a startup, any day could be the last day of your business. So there's a certain kind of sense. There's a sense in which you're always on the edge, and on top of that, because you're relying a lot of times on like deals here and deals there, they can just fall through. I have literally organized like events, and had like speakers for the events. And literally on the day they're just like, yeah, I'm not coming. I'm like, sorry, what do you mean you're not? They're like, yeah, I can't. And I'm like, what the hell? And literally just like that, everything's changed. I've had people who are part of TCS. I made a vlog about that, my third vlog, where literally one day we're like dancing together, like, hey, TCS forever. And the next 2 weeks they're like, yeah, I'm leaving. And I'm like, where are you going? And they're like, yeah, I've got to go, it's not for me. And I'm like, what the, okay, kind of thing. And literally, key players just leave. Yeah, it's not for me anymore, just leave. in a job, that doesn't just happen. You can't just walk into your job and you're looking at a spreadsheet and you just go, nah. And you walk into your boss's office and be like, yeah, sorry, mate, I'm leaving. It's like, it would be like, what are you doing? Sit down. Like, go finish the flip. What are you doing? But with startups or with self-employment, it is very kind of uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty, especially at the start. You've got to really kind of work hard to make your own deals happen and stuff like that. So that's number one, uncertainty. That was long. I can actually speak about that one forever, but I'm just going to stop there. In fact, no, I'm not. I've had so many days where literally, or so many weeks where literally every day is just different. Every day is just different. Like the way I think about it now is there's a problem that I'm going to have to deal with that's going to drop on my lap probably on Friday. I don't know the problem yet, but it's probably going to drop on my lap on Friday. So I've got to be ready for that. As well as all the fun stuff that we're doing, I'm always ready. Like my mind is always like, okay, Michael, have fun, but always be ready for like literally someone to be like, boom, sorry, bro, I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, okay. So when recently one of our members was like, I can't do it anymore, it was sad, but in my head I was prepared for it. So yeah, take care, bro, kind of thing. Because it is tough. Anyways, that's number one. Number two is people need to understand one thing, and this is why I actually respect those people who do 9 to 5. Being able to leave work at work is literally one of the biggest blessings ever, and you won't know it until you experience the other side. If you work a 9 to 5 job, and most typical jobs, obviously some jobs you're kind of there till late, but most typical jobs, when you finish work, you're done. Yeah, your boss only pays you for the work you've done. Like he's not in your house. Like, what are you doing at home? Like that's home time. You can leave work at work. You can go to the gym after work, chill out with your friends, and literally it's only 8 a.m. you have to think about work again. The problem with self-employment is you are always working. I mean, literally always working. My official hours with TCS are 10 to 6. Oh, please. I have never worked like till 6 in my life. I'm working from 6 till forever. Yeah, that's my checkout time forever when I die, because it literally is just all the time. Like, there'll be times where I'm here, I'm at the office and I'm working, and I'm like, oh, it's 6, and literally I look away and I look back and it's like 10, and I'm still like kind of working. And that's not a one-off, that's every single day. You're constantly worrying about things. There's times when I wake up at 2 a.m. and like we've got to solve something, and it's just always like you're always on. People have to be aware of that, because a lot of people feel like, see this whole, they watch films and they see people hustling, like they're in the house together, all working together, and then everyone's like, take care, see you tomorrow. No, there's no see you tomorrow. You're staying here forever. That sounds so deep, but that's what I mean. Especially if you're running it or you're in charge of it, is literally you are always working. And if you're like an artist or a videographer, something like that, well then you've got to always be ready to strike up deals, because there's no working hours for you. There's no working hours. You've got to be ready all the time to kind of any opportunities to make money, or you've got to be like open to it. Otherwise, because it just doesn't come the way it does with a normal job. Like with a normal job, you can literally, I guess this kind of speaks to the whole uncertainty thing again. You can, on the 31st of whatever, you get paid every month. Like, it's agreed. If there's a dispute, you go back, you go, what's going on? You pay me less than. Solved. With self-employment, some months is very good. Some months it's porridge month. Yeah, that's what I tell myself sometimes. Sometimes I look at my bank and I'm like, oh, porridge week today, this week. Oh Lord, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it's porridge week. There was a guy staying with me. He was, I don't know. I remember him asking me. I was like, "Oh, Mike, why are you eating porridge?" I was like, "Why not?" I said, "Why not? Porridge is good. It's nice, slow releasing energy, kind of thing." Because it is just that tough. And people have to be aware. They have to be aware of that. The last thing as well, just so this is not long. If you actually want to make a proper video about this, I will. But the other thing I was gonna say is a lot of times you're alone, and I'll end here. It sounds so deep, but you're alone because, like your friends, as much as they love you, they're not self-employed typically. If you have a bunch of friends who are, you've won, because then you guys can create a little community, start a group chat, like just share, because it is very tough. It is very, very tough. But if you have friends who are also self-employed, bravo, you've won. If not, oh mate, yeah, you need to understand you will be alone. You know, I'll be talking to one of my friends at like 2 a.m. and he'd be like, yeah, I've got work tomorrow morning. And I'm kind of like, yeah, so do I. But he's like, yeah, but I've got a job kind of thing. Like I have to actually go in at 6. And with me, like, whilst I have to work as well, I'm a lot more flexible. So whilst he's sleeping, I'll be working, and whilst he's working, I can sleep. But he doesn't have that flexibility. So when it really dawns on you when everyone's gone. Like, so with my friends, like 9 to 5, I typically don't message anyone, friends anyways, because I know they're working. As am I. But here's the trick: at 6, they're ready to go. Well, yo, Mike, I'm still working. And that just reminds you that, yeah, we're not living the same. We're not on the same channel at all. No. I mean, I'm a bit different because I pretty much kind of do a lot of my work during like normal working hours. So I wake up at 5. By 6, 7, I've done a bit of work. I've gone to the gym by 8, 9, and I start work at 10, like officially. I'm kind of same as them, but generally speaking, most self-employed people aren't like that. They are literally they are working a totally different like hours and time, and because of that, they're often alone. You know, sometimes you're gonna have some low moments. Like the past month that went by was probably one of my lowest months like ever. Just generally, it was a low month. And that's the thing about me. Like, one of my assets is I can deal with stress. Like, I've dealt with all kinds of things that you would not expect, you know, people my age to even deal with, kind of thing. But I've dealt with it. And not because I love it, it's just because that's the way life is. But that's meant I built a very high stress threshold, like a very high one. Like, I can, yeah, you know, I can take on a lot of people's issues. I can think, like, I'm fine with that, you know. However, even that being said, last month was tough, man. So tough. And it reminded me again of all these different things that, yeah, ultimately you are kind of alone. Whilst people will wish you well and stuff like that, you know your dreams and your passions and your ambition. You know how much you want it. You know all that stuff. Other people don't. Even if you communicate to them, they don't really get it. So you got to understand that you're alone. Take those low moments. Don't lose enthusiasm. I think I put on my Instagram, like, I've realized success really is about, yeah, moving from failure to failure and not losing enthusiasm. Now, you are right. So I say you are right. Somebody commented and said, well, there's also wins, and that's true. There's lots of wins, but people need to be aware that all the stuff you see online of like self-employment, be like, you know, you got a backpack, you're making money. No, it's tough. It's very, very tough. And if you don't know, have a good, deep, solid, you know, reason why you're doing what you're doing, like a deep kind of knowing, like this is why, then you'll stop. And I don't blame people. I have friends who did it for a month and then they're like, yeah, I'm getting a job. It's fine. It's not for everybody. However, it is very, 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 very rewarding if you're doing what you're made to do. And when you're in your zone, in your field, nothing better. I don't know what else I'd rather be doing, because I don't want to be building some random guy's company. Sorry, I don't know you. I don't want to build your company, but whereas here I'm building something that I care about, and I've got people around me who also care. So it's like we're talking based on that. If I worked in the mainstream media, they don't care about me. They don't care about my thoughts. It's like, listen, we just want to sell papers, help us sell papers, you know. Whereas here it's different. So self-employment is good, it is fun if you can find what works for you and be really into that. This is the longest vlog ever, so I'm gonna stop here. But yeah, let me comment, like, if you made it this far, amen. Please comment, just let me know what you think about this stuff. Have you been considering self-employment? Would you do self-employment? Do you have friends and stuff? Like, what do they say about it? And also, if you work a 9-to-5 job, would you advise I get a job? A 9-to-5. I mean, what would you say about it? Just engage. Comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. But yeah, apart from that, I'll see you tomorrow. That's just me pouring out my heart, just randomly. But yeah, I shall see you tomorrow, where you should see a normal vlog. Take care.